Hey everyone, it's Kayla Kling from the agency. We are back in New York City talking to New Yorkers, and today we are going to talk to my good friend Samantha Maranca, who is also my favorite florist in the city. Her company is the Mini Rose Co, and we're going to go hang out at her studio for a little bit. So let's go. Hey Sam!
Welcome to the Mini Rose Company. Do you want to take a quick tour downstairs of the flower market before we get started?
Yes, let's do it.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We are on 28th Street between 6th and 7th Avenue, which is the heart of the New York City Flower District and has been for over 100 years.
Wow.
And we're going to stop in a couple of our vendors, but if you need any fresh cut flowers, plants, vases, any kind of things like that, this is the place to go.
Yeah, looks like it has it all.
Yes, indeed. We're going to take a step into Abra,
Okay,
see what they have
great.
to offer us today. Oh, Mel.
We're closed, I'm sorry.
I know, don't
We're
I
closed.
know it. Mel always lets me in when we're
No,
closed.
he won't let me in.
Oh, Mel, we're
No,
videotaping. Welcome to the Sass of the Spunk. Our aisles over here where we have all of the flowers of the day. They're cooler, which are already starting to stack up because it's about 11 a.m., which is very late for the flower district. And then you pull what you want, put it on the shelf, and they bring it on up to you, or you come and grab it. I'm going to take this to go because it's not a huge package.
So is this part of your regular routine, coming down, seeing what's available and like getting what you need for your events and whatnot?
Absolutely. The fact that we're located directly upstairs is amazing because we are able to hand select everything that we buy for each client, and we're not stocking a certain amount that we're trying to push what's old. So that's one of the really nice things about having everything that we do like custom made. We're hand selecting everything that's the nicest of the season. So yeah, you get that like really cared for, hand selected,
very
precious,
custom.
nicest.
Yeah,
100%.
Love it.
And we get to see everything that comes in new like that day.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
it's very. So this is Caribbean cut. They have all the tropical. So if you need heliconia, you need palm leaves, you need some of these really funky, textural items, all the stuff that's tropical. Tom and Frankie are the guys to come to. They'll get everything that you need for you.
Wow,
So
I love it.
very different
Bananas.
vibe. Yeah, literally lots of fun, funky textures in here.
Yeah.
So we come here all the time for weeklies and things that need to last a long amount of time. I love these branches over here, have such a really fun, funky texture that you don't see all the time.
Yeah.
So just gives a little bit of a pop, something
Yeah,
different.
I love it. Very different.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of this in New York City, I feel. So.
Nope. Unless you go into our lobbies.
Yes.
So now we're in Holiday.
Okay.
Holiday is my go-to plant place. There's several plant places on the block, but if you need orchids, if you need little plants that are going to go in your garden, any kind of the
Okay, yeah, these
seasonal
are really
stuff,
nice.
fun topiaries, all of the big plants outside, which we'll go to.
Okay.
But they have gorgeous stuff. Anything from small little accents to like 10-foot trees and palms. And they're a group of great guys, right? Yeah. Lots of fun at Holiday. We got a little dance party going. So welcome to New York Flower Group. They have 2 stores on this block and 1 in Long Island City.
Okay.
They specialize in like the top end Dutch, Holland stuff being imported, but they get things from all over the world. So one flower might be from Israel, one's from Thailand, one of them's from Holland, one's from South Africa. So this is the place that you come to get flowers that are literally coming in from everywhere around the world, and the top.
Okay.
So if you see, we've got really beautiful sweet peas, which are in season at the moment. One of the things that's really cool is that I feel like over the course of pandemic, they figured out in their downtime how to do like really high-end dyed flowers.
Oh, okay.
So now you've got like a lot of these here that you're seeing, even the ones that don't necessarily, like the blue ones, you go like, okay, are those dyed? Probably. Right. But these that have like all of the veining through, they look really natural. We use them for very high-end clients all the time. And it just adds a really element of like that kind of like chic tailored, but still natural, and it feels like people wouldn't necessarily know. We've got gorgeous ranunculus in right now. The colors,
Oh my
the
gosh.
colors.
I know, I
It feels
love
like
it.
spring. If you come down this way, we've got things like fritillaria, calla lilies, butterfly ranunculus, lisianthus. Once again, lisianthus. This is dyed here. These are not. But it just brings out a really cool, interesting texture. And you're going to see me use some of the dyed lisianthus in the arrangements that we're going to do today.
Great.
And the last thing, a lot of people's favorites. It's peony season. Yes, so this color in particular, which is called Etched Salmon, is one of my favorite. It's just like so fun and light. It's like,
Makes you smile.
it does.
Happy.
It really does. It's lovely. And so all of the peonies, they've just got shelves and shelves, and it keeps going all the way to the back.
Oh my gosh.
Chestnut is this store's guard cat, but a lot of the stores have cats. This one just happens to not be like the friendliest to all people. It's a little bit more selective about, you know, so you like, you know, mind its business. They're minding their flowers and they mind the mice.
Yeah.
It takes care of everything. But yeah, beware of dangerous guard cats.
Okay, got it.
Joe.
Can we help you?
Yeah, I need a couple vases, and I'm doing a tour of the flower market for my for a video blog. I know, it's brutal. It's brutal. We don't love this high technology stuff here. Okay, we got everything we needed now. Time to make some beautiful arrangements.
Let's do it. I can't wait. So now we are in the Mini Rose Co. studio with Samantha, and today we're going to be making an arrangement, right? Perfect for a housewarming gift or a coffee table.
Yep,
right?
absolutely. This is for one of our residential clients. We do weekly flowers for her coffee table every week, and so we get to have fun and do different things each and every week, and you know, beautify her home. So this is great for a gift, great for a residential client that you have that might want a little bit more elevated look on a weekly basis.
Okay, and so how do you start when you're building an arrangement?
Absolutely. So I always like to start with a base. And this is one of the things that we go into when we do our flower classes is like, how do people get started? They have no idea.
Right.
So I'd like to start with a base that's gonna give us the right scale and form and set everything up so that the scale and fullness of the arrangement is right. If you start too small, it looks like one of those like cars in Brooklyn that fell into the sinkhole. And if you go too big, then you don't have enough flowers, or you end up with a lot of stems showing and it doesn't feel as full. Right. Now, not everything needs to be perfectly rounded, or you can do that very kind of like wild in an outlook, but still having the base that you're working with to start for that vessel is going to be a really important thing. So I'm going to start with a few roses because I always like to start with flowers that have a little bit more fullness and are a little bit more solid.
Gotcha.
Things that are smaller or more delicate, I tend to do at the end because otherwise they kind of get lost in the base.
That makes
so
sense.
we start with something that's got a little bit more fullness. So I'm going to start with some of these beautiful pink garden roses, and we're going to go from there. So
amazing.
A few things is that I'm always going to clean off my leaves. There's a few reasons why. It makes sure that your flower head is hydrating properly.
Okay.
The more leaves you have, if you cut this at the bottom, the water's coming up through, and all of the leaves are going to get that water first.
I see, instead of
and
the
yes,
actual flower.
you end up with your flower head, especially with things like hydrangea, lilac, the blooming branches. The more leaves you have, those really full, petal-heavy flowers need a lot more water, and so it's going to suck it right out. And a lot of people end up saying, like, I can't keep a hydrangea alive. One of the things.
Or even when some people, I think, get those like pre-made arrangements, you know, they have all the leaves on it and stuff, and they just stick it into a vase, and then it like dies within a few days.
And you'll notice also, I'm cutting on a diagonal.
Right.
All of my flowers, I'm going to cut on a diagonal. If I cut it straight, that's okay. But if I cut it straight, I've only got this amount of diameter that the flower's drinking through. If I cut it on an angle, it's going to give it a little bit more level of hydration. So that's one of the reasons why you'll always see florists cutting things on an angle.
This is kind of a particular question with roses. What do you do with the thorns, or how do you work around that?
Well, as a well-seasoned florist, you might hear a couple of expletives come out of my mouth here and there.
Yeah.
I always say to my people when I'm doing the workshops, if you haven't bled, you're not a florist. So sometimes it's known to happen. However, there are very good ways to clean off your rose stems. If you are a well-seasoned florist, we come and we literally just shave them right off. Now, I'm cutting off for this arrangement because it's a low and lush arrangement. Most of the top half of this stem doesn't have. So I'm just skipping over that and doing, you know, a trim. And I don't have any of the thorns, so it just saves me the step. However, if this was going to be in a taller arrangement, I'm gonna wanna come through and shave these off.
I see.
If you're an amateur florist,
Yes. That might be our audience.
we can also go through with our clippers and just cut off that little end there.
Okay.
And these are a little bit smaller, so they're kind of hard, but
Yeah.
some of the roses, and I'll go through with some of them that we're opening up. We've got many, many packs of roses that are going to be opening. Some of them have a little bit bigger, and you can even take your thumb and literally just snap them off.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Like
that's daring.
pop them to the side. It's a little bit more daring. It depends on the rose. This one's a little more gardeny, so it's not, it's not as easy to do that.
So tell me, how did you even get here? How did the Mini Rose Co. start? When did you go, you know what, I want to be in the floral industry. I want to be a florist in New York City.
So I will tell you that my background before I became a florist, which was literally never on my radar at all, which is funny because people always tell me as a florist when I introduce myself, they say, oh, I've always wanted to be a florist.
Yeah.
And like, it's my dream job. And it's funny because I never thought about it. So when I was in college, I went to school for interior design. I worked my entire way through college and did visual merchandising and window displays. So I was always very drawn to creating beautiful spaces and bringing beauty to spaces, and what the medium that I was working with could shift and change.
Yeah.
I actually became drawn to flowers because I would go to my parents' house every weekend and have dinner, and I'd get flowers and I try to put them together. And here I am, this hotshot interior design student. I've done, I'm on ladders and staple gunning things to ceilings and all of this stuff. And I would go and get flowers every week, and it was not very intuitive.
Yeah.
I'm putting them in a vase. I'm expecting it to look like an 18th century masterpiece.
Right, exactly.
It did not.
Yes.
It was a little, and I also realized how little I knew as a, 20, 22-year-old kid about flowers. It just wasn't on my radar. And I became interested. And from there, I decided to start looking, and I knew I wanted to move to New York City. I was living in Philadelphia at the time, and anything that I had really seen was just like mom and pop shops and 1-800-Flowers and like things that you go like, eh.
Yeah.
When I started looking in New York and I saw the scope and the scale and the breadth of work, and not only that, but it's not just the wedding industry. People think florist weddings are a part of every business in New York City. We work in the real estate industry tremendously. We do a retail where we have high-end retail businesses that we're in every single week. We do all of their events. We do windows for them. We do all kinds of things. Corporate, think about every single corporate or residential building you walk into New York. You've got flowers, you've got plants. It brings spaces to life. Yes. And so I made the decision to go into that industry. My father had a conniption. He's like, I just sent you to interior design school. You're going to be a florist, because he didn't know either. And I talked my way into the business, and I learned. And after several years of working for other companies and managing other companies and really running like their design programs, I decided to start my own business. So
I love it.
here we are. That was 11 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, wow, 11 years. And look at you now.
Yeah.
Have your own studio space in New York City in the Floral District.
Indeed.
Well, I was actually going to talk to you about kind of like real estate specifically. You probably know it's been a bit more of a challenging market. I think apartments are taking a little bit longer to sell with the interest rates. Things are expensive, so it's a little tougher. But I feel like the apartments that I see are really just flying off the shelf, getting multiple offers. It's because they have accurate pricing. But hello, Petal.
Shot a rose at you.
But no, the apartments that are really selling, they not only have accurate pricing, but I feel like the presentation of the apartment is pristine. It not only looks good online in the photos, but also when you walk into the space. And you've kind of touched on it, what florals or greenery bring to the space. Could you just like maybe elaborate on that more? Because I think some, maybe homeowners or some sellers or real estate agents, they're just like, what is like this little vase gonna do? Is it gonna really sell this $1 million apartment?
They go, what's the point?
Yeah,
exactly. And the truth is that it really is the point. The spaces that are presented properly, where they're really cleaned, they're really tailored, it's not cluttered, it doesn't have all of the miscellaneous, and where someone can envision. Everybody wants to walk into a space and feel like, oh, this could be my home. If they walk in and they see mess, or they see clutter, or they see 17 pictures on the wall of, their grandchildren, some strangers' grandkids, it doesn't feel like theirs.
Right.
Doing those extra things. I mean, we do staging for, model units at high-rise buildings, luxury high-rise buildings, and it's everything to people open the refrigerator.
Right.
We will make sure that we have glass bottles and,
so you even offer that too.
100%. We will stage the refrigerators, because guess what? If you're trying to buy a $40 million apartment or even a $5 million apartment, but you open the refrigerator, if it looks empty or it looks even worse, like a mess,
exactly.
you can't envision yourself.
Exactly.
Think of Khloe Kardashian. The fridge, pantry situation.
Yeah.
She
takes all over my Pinterest board.
She takes it to the next level.
Yeah,
but there's something to be said about that people live very much right now in an aspirational world where everything is on Pinterest, on interest, there's boards.
Yes.
So to walk into a space that you're going to buy, you want to feel like, okay, this could feel like my home in my experience of it. And the flowers and the plants, the lobby spaces, the amenity spaces, we're in all of those
I was just going to say,
areas in the buildings.
Even when you just walk into the building, it's kind of nice when you check in with the doorman and say, oh, I'm going to see, apartment 21C. It kind of, I think, brings like a little warmth and a hominess like to the building or the amenities and the apartment when there's just like some florals or some trees or whatever it is.
It's amazing how much we do within the scope of like a building for our residential buildings. We will do everything from their outside plants and planters, their tree pits in the sidewalk, their fresh florals, orchids, plants in all of their lobby and amenity spaces. We often end up doing a lot of residential clients in the building because they see our work every day when they're going in and out of their home.
I like that. I want that too.
Outside terraces, holiday programs. You don't want to walk in and see, chintzy Christmas trees that look like they were, tinsel hanging from the dollar store.
On the Christmas trees are a little questionable.
Yeah, but that's one of our biggest seasons is that you go like, all right, we're going to be doing not only people's homes, but also these bigger buildings, courtyards. How do you illuminate? How do you bring light? How do you bring wreaths and make it feel the holiday feeling for these clients that are paying, large amounts of money to have facilities within their building that feel really high-end and well-tuned.
Gotcha.
So we bring a lot of that to those buildings and those spaces.
Okay, that's amazing. I don't think I realized how much actual staging you do past the florals and the plants. So that's good to know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you have a designer that's doing model units, I mean, we will walk through, and we've even done many buildings where we will work with them on the styling of their spaces.
Oh, okay.
When we are going up on the outside of buildings, in the outside with construction hats and the caged elevators, we start working on programs from that point.
Wow, okay.
So very early on.
Yeah.
And it just layers and changes as the project
creating
goes
a vision
around.
together, this whole team coming together.
Yep.
Amazing.
What else am I adding in here? Let's see.
What are we going to add to this?
We're going to
It's coming together nicely.
Thank you. We're going to add some peonies and some sweet peas. I'm keeping everything.
Beautiful.
This client in particular loves. Smell the sweet peas. They're
oh my gosh.
top notch.
It smells so good.
And I'm going to bring in some of these ranunculus as well.
Like. Oh, I love a good peony.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't?
No, and this is like my favorite color too. I love this.
Yeah. All of the peachy, pinky salmons.
Yes, I'm loving this.
The time.
So let me ask you this. What would you suggest? There's some apartments in New York City that they might be facing a wall. They don't get much sunlight. So, but again, great reason to maybe bring some florals and bring a little bit more cheeriness into it, right? So what plants or florals would you suggest for an apartment maybe that doesn't get as much light?
So there's definitely a handful of plants that will do well in dark spaces.
Okay.
And it will distract from your attention will come to, oh, there's life, oh, there's green, there's more oxygen in the space.
Right.
Versus even on a subconscious level, people aren't necessarily going in and thinking that straight up, but it does seep into people's awareness of the space when you see plants. I would say snake plants, ZZ plants, Those two are for sure the best. Rubber plants, which is this one over
Gotcha.
here. This happens to be a really pretty variegated one, but they also come in like really dark, kind of like aubergine, leathery, like
okay.
style.
Some texture in there.
Yeah, like it's a little more masculine
Okay.
vibe for like a chic, you know,
More
Tribeca,
moody,
Tribeca
yes.
bachelor pad.
Yeah, I
you
love
go like,
that.
great. And we can also help to figure out the styling
Right.
so that you're putting the right elements in the right spaces. And that's one of the things specifically that my interior design degree gives us the ability to have these niches in real estate, in the design world,
Right.
in retail spaces, high-end retail spaces that are very highly conceptualized.
Yeah.
Because I look at it and go, okay, what's the experience, the subconscious experience that a person's going to have when they walk into a space?
Right,
And how do we
exactly.
elevate that to draw towards the things we want to draw towards and
Yeah.
away from the things that we don't necessarily want them to immediately focus on.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
And then what about, let's say, you know, New York City is an expensive place, but someone might want maybe weekly floral arrangements, you know, but they are on a budget. So what does like that floral arrangement look like? Are there, you know, decently priced florals out there or green plants? What would you suggest for those people?
So there's a couple options. You know, the cost of flowers has definitely gone substantially up since COVID.
Right.
We're seeing major increases. So I would say you can definitely do things that are nice on a little bit more of a budget.
Okay.
But you can also get things that last a little bit longer. You can
Oh,
get
yeah,
an
that's a good
arrangement
idea.
that's got, you know, heavy on dried florals.
Okay.
Or an orchid plant that will last for 2 months instead of, you know, 6 to 8 weeks.
right.
Instead of 1 week.
Okay.
And then you fill in with the fresh flowers for a special occasion.
Gotcha. Oh, I like that. That's actually a good way to do it.
100%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so you can do, you know, right behind you, we've got all of these really beautiful dried flowers and
Right.
and palms and things like that.
Oh wow, these are all dried.
All
Oh
of
my
those are
gosh.
dried
And
that
it,
we've
it doesn't
used
even look
before.
like
I mean, right now it's like it's all kind of plopped into the windowsill,
Right.
but we'll pull things out and reuse all the time. We'll go like, oh, if we need some dried things, and we can, you know, there's ways to utilize fresh with dried or things that
Yeah.
will dry nicely, and that is a huge impact for people to be able to have a few elements throughout, and then maybe you add an orchid plant or a real
Right.
plant, and then, you know, once a quarter, then you add the fresh flowers, but you
Right.
don't need it every week.
Gotcha. Okay, I like that.
Yep.
And then what about, I guess the dried florals or dried plants would work in this situation, but what if it's, you know, a New Yorker who just moved here, they're out in the town all the time, so they're not really, you know, giving too much maintenance to their plants and florals. Like what would be a good suggestion for those people that, again, want, you know, florals or arrangements in their home?
So I would say the best thing for fresh flowers as far as keeping them well and lasting a longer time is just make sure that the water level is high
Okay.
and in a cooler space. So if you are in a high-rise building that's got floor-to-ceiling windows and you're getting heavy light
Yeah.
during the day, and let's say it's summer, you know, that might not be the best time for you to be doing fresh flowers on this specific dining table that's getting
Right,
pounded.
right, exactly.
So keeping those things in mind.
But that probably, again, that's where you can step in. Maybe you walk through the space and you can see with your interior design, you know, background, you can
Yeah.
be like, hey, this area is going to get a lot more sun, so maybe we use these plants instead, and then put those, you know, florals over there.
And the other thing is that it's not everybody's favorite choice, but it does have its time and its place, and there are very nice faux selections
Okay.
that we do and we can do for specific spaces. Real estate model units is a great one because you don't necessarily want to have someone every week be coming by, watering, paying a staff member to come by and
Right,
do that.
exactly.
We've had plenty of model units where we do have fresh flowers and we do get paid to come in and maintain and things like that.
Gotcha.
But we also have plenty of spaces where they say, you know what, we're going to pay maybe twice the amount or 2.5 times the amount, but get really nice faux, and it's a one-time cost. We don't have to worry about replacing.
Right.
If we sell this apartment and we move to a different, we have a new one, we can repurpose
Right.
it.
Gotcha.
And we can do really beautiful faux work as well.
Okay, amazing.
So that's a good thing to keep in mind.
This is getting a little bit more fuller.
Yeah,
Look at
now you see.
this.
So I'm
Oh
going to
my-
add a little bit of foliage to it.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
going to hop
do
over
it.
here because I think I have my seated you.
You offer floral workshops.
We
Can you tell
sure
me a little
do.
bit more about that, or what people can expect if they want to do a floral workshop?
Absolutely. So we traditionally, for many, many years prior to COVID, would line up our tables in our studio space right upstairs from, the Flower District, and we host events. We still do.
Yes.
But that's how we started, was hosting events specifically in the high-end interior design world. We've hosted,
Okay.
I'd say, probably 20 interior design and architectural firms in the city
Wow.
over the course of the years alone.
Okay.
Many other groups of people as well, but it started with the design world and our connections with them, that they wanted to learn and have, client interactive experience and team, building experiences and things like that. And we line people up. We set up a beautiful floral bar.
Okay.
And we teach everyone how to make your own arrangement, what the flowers are, care and conditioning, which flowers like cold water, which ones like hot water. Some of these make a big difference in
Okay.
the longevity of your flowers.
Yeah, I don't
And
even
then-
think I knew about the different water temperatures. Okay.
It's a thing.
Learning something new.
It's a
Okay.
thing. Sign up for my next
Yes, I
workshop
have
and you'll learn
to.
a lot. But it's a wonderful, especially we do events and workshops of all kinds, but we really specialize where a lot of people don't in the corporate sphere.
Okay.
So we will work with companies of all different kinds to create client experiences, colleague experiences, things like that, in a way that's really meaningful
Yes.
and wonderful. So we've been doing that for years.
Okay.
One of the things that was amazing for us is that we had this system in place when COVID hit.
Right.
And we worked along with several of our vendors to be able to overnight ship individual packages of flowers
Wow.
to each person's home. So instead of doing one big floral bar here
Right.
and everyone coming to our studio, we were overnight shipping flowers, and then everyone gets care and conditioning instructions, gets their flowers prepped, and the next day we do a live team building,
Wow.
workshop
Yes.
over Zoom. So now I'll say it really was the sustaining force while we were getting our business back
Right, I
in
bet.
line.
Right.
It really helped us. I mean, we did probably 100 virtual events.
Yes, I will
over the
actually
course-
say I was one of those customers.
true.
I did a virtual floral
Yeah.
workshop, and it was so fun. And I think
Really
there was
fun.
even a lot of men that were part of the class that I don't
Loved
think I've
it.
ever touched,
Loved it.
put together a floral arrangement ever. But they even said it was so therapeutic. It was very relaxing, and it was genuinely just a really fun time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's uplifting.
Yes.
It really is.
Brought
And
joy.
you learn something new. I learned on the job because I realized when I was, once again, 20 years old, trying to put flowers together. My parents, I don't know what in the world I'm doing. I
Yeah,
really don't. And it's not coming
exactly.
together the way I thought it would.
Exactly.
And so when you have someone that gives you the confidence to then go, oh, okay, now you do this. Now you layer
Right.
in that. Here's the differences in texture, in
Yes.
color, in scale.
Yes.
This is how you put it together. It gives people the confidence to then be creative on their own. And you can follow up with us afterwards, and we'll send you your own bloom boxes as much as you want.
Yes, no,
Every
and
time it's
I also
different.
want to say those bloom boxes that you send out, or the presentation, the florals are all wrapped up beautifully. So even when if you
Yeah.
do sign up for a virtual floral workshop, don't think that your flowers are going to be tumbled up and broken. No, it's pristine condition.
Our tagline is, this ain't your regular floral delivery.
No, it isn't.
It is not. It absolutely is not.
No, it's in a beautiful box, so well taken care of, and again, in pristine condition.
Thank you.
So it's great. So not only are you a florist, but you are also a female business owner.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Do you find any challenges being a female business owner in the city or just in this industry?
I would say it's an interesting experience to be a female business owner. I mean, obviously in this industry, there's going to be a lot of women.
Right, I assume so.
But that being said, I feel like just generally, you need to have a little bit of balls, and you need to be able to put people in their place.
Yeah.
But you also need to be someone who's likable. And
Right.
so, you know, you see downstairs, I know everybody. Everybody's my friend,
Yes.
and we have a fun relationship, and we, dance around and act stupid
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
because that's just what it is. It's like being at summer camp. You see these people every day
Right.
in and out of the experience. But at the same time, you want them to take you seriously and know that, like,
you're
you
the
know,
real deal.
And so balancing that line is, an art.
Right.
Balancing where you need to be a little bit tough and where you can be softer. I mean, that being said, our employees and the team that we work with is also like family to us, and we
Right.
love them. So our vendors, the same thing. So it's the balance of, building real relationships with
Right.
the people that you're working with, whether it's your team members, whether it's your vendors, whether it's your clients, that they respect you and like you and respect the work that you do, because otherwise, I'm sure as a real estate agent,
Right.
people have in their mind what their house is worth.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not necessarily indicative
Yeah.
of what their house is actually worth. And you have to
Exactly.
have hard conversations, but you need them to trust you
Exactly.
to do your job well.
Right.
And I think that's the most important thing. With every bride that we work with every client that we work with, we say, what we do, every single thing is a custom piece.
Right.
I'm not giving you a copy and paste off of a menu.
Right.
So trust me to understand what your vision is, and that
Yep.
I know what your needs are and what your brand is or what your home styling is, whatever it is. And from there, trust me to do the best work for you. Yeah. And that absolutely transfers over into really every industry,
Right,
but
I
in
agree.
real estate in particular.
Yes, definitely.
It's very, very important.
Yes.
And it makes a big difference.
No, I love that. That was great.
Awesome. Well, we're almost finished.
Yeah,
I'm going to add
oh
a little
my
bit of
gosh.
greenery.
Okay.
Just a little
This is
touch
coming
around the
together.
edges.
Oh
but
my God, so cute. This is going to be
Yeah.
a very happy customer.
Indeed. Indeed.
So next, we're going to ask Sam here some hot takes, New York City related, some just super random. But my friend Samantha has, very strong opinions about things.
That's
so
true.
I really want to hear your opinions and thoughts about a couple of things, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Okay. One, if you had all the money in the world, what New York City neighborhood are you living in and why?
Ooh. I would probably go back to the Upper West Side.
Really?
Just because it feels like home. I feel like I would end up with like a really beautiful brownstone.
Yes.
I feel like I could live well
Like
in
a nice townhouse? Is that what you're kind of picturing for yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like a real authentic, like brick front, the walk upstairs
Yes.
with the
So that you
railings
could
that you can
decorate with the
decorate.
florals,
Yeah,
come
like
on.
I'm envisioning like Halloween and
Yes.
holidays and the garden and everything like that, and a nice rooftop terrace in the
Of course,
backyard.
yes, that you also have to
I
add
feel
florals
like
to.
that's, I could end up
Yes.
living that way. Wouldn't be too
This
painful.
is very typical for anyone that likes the Upper West Side. You guys ride for the Upper West Side, I feel.
I lived there for years.
Yeah.
It felt like home. And, so you go, sometimes you stick with
it's
that.
a gorgeous neighborhood, so charming, and the architecture there is just stunning. And you have both
Great
parks.
food. The food.
Yes, the food.
Yeah, and you're
Amazing.
close to Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
You can get places easily.
Right, and you have multiple
con-
subway lines.
feels
so it's
convenient.
easy. Okay, this is going to be specific.
Yeah.
If you must go up to order, do you tip?
Ugh. I want to say no, because like how fucking annoying is that?
Yes.
You go like, but then sometimes I get guilted into it.
Yes, I agree. I'm right there with you.
I feel the guilt, but I also feel the spite.
Yes.
It's a guilt-spite relationship. So I'd say 70% no,
Okay.
30% yes.
Yes.
But I do it spitefully.
Okay, yes.
100%.
I agree, because so for an example, I was at Starbucks yesterday and I just like had to pick something.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like them prompting me to give them a tip, I was like, okay, it took this guy at least 1 to 2 minutes just to even notice I was here. And then he was like, oh, sorry, like, you're just getting this. I'm like, yeah, can you just ring me up? I could have been gone, 5 minutes ago. That was like,
That's
no,
why pre-order.
No tip, no
That's
tip.
why you pre-order.
Pre-order, okay.
You get out of it. They don't see your face. They don't go, oh, there's the no tipper.
Yeah,
There's
that's true.
the no tipper on a
Okay.
pickup order. But that's the point.
Okay.
If I want to tip, I'm sitting down at the restaurant.
Yes.
I also think it's obnoxious that in cabs now it's like tip 25, 30%.
30%.
I'm already paying $17 in fees just to get in the cab.
Yes, exactly.
That, like, no.
Oh,
I'm
and then
sorry.
once you go past 60th Street, you have all that now. So we'll just continue.
Yes.
Okay. When people pronounce words wrong, do you correct them or let it be?
So it depends on the words.
Okay.
Sometimes, so like, this is one of my biggest sources of joy with my husband, who's incredibly pedantic, is that he hates it when I mispronounce words.
Okay.
So I do it on purpose. Sometimes I'll slide it in.
That is
because it just gives me deep joy.
Right.
However, like for instance, my aunt, who's been a resident of the Upper West Side for 50 plus years, she says Uber instead of Uber. And I can't possibly correct her because then she won't say Uber anymore.
Right.
The same thing with my daughter, who calls a tsunami wave a salami wave. And I go like, I'm not going to correct that.
Yeah.
That one's got to stick.
Yeah.
But if I'm out in, like, but with Prudence, who's, my right-hand lady here,
Right.
if she says something wrong, I'm gonna make sure she knows it.
Oh, that's
So it
funny.
depends on the situation, the context.
Yeah, I think for me, it depends kind of on the person. I feel like correct my boyfriend a lot, which I'm like, I should maybe like give him a break. But then there's some people where I'm like, you know what, like we're in a conversation. I don't need to be that person. I'm just gonna like let it go. And you know what? I feel a little bit better about myself.
Yeah,
I'm just, like,
it's a kind thing to do.
Yeah.
Is it the way I would say I more often than not let it slide because it's funny.
Yeah.
Or I
Same.
correct because it's funny.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
really
that's how I do it
the
with Trey.
determining factor.
Yeah.
How funny is it going to be which direction I go?
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
And you know
agree.
what? Nothing beats getting in a Uber.
I might start saying Uber now.
It's good.
I'm gonna call Uber
It's
after.
it's like almost a silent H.
Yeah,
Uber.
I like it.
Uber. It's good.
That is so funny.
Indeed.
Okay, this one I'm actually dying to ask you
Okay.
since you have younger children.
Indeed.
When is the appropriate age to start taking international trips with your children?
I haven't done it yet.
Oh, you haven't done it, and how old are your children?
My children are almost 8
Okay.
and 4.5.
Okay.
But the hard thing is that my 4.5-year-old was born 3 months before COVID started. So we also had this weird time, like we almost took an international trip a year and a half ago, but because things were still closing down and if you got COVID
Right.
internationally,
Right.
you would be stuck
Yeah.
with your children in a hotel paying for that. And as a person who's personally quarantined with my children,
Yes.
that was not a great option. So now I feel a little bit differently, and I would love to go international with my kids.
Okay.
But the factor of the quarantining possibility with the kids in a foreign country took away that desire
Right.
for a while. So it's a little bit, if you have a young kid, sometimes that's the better time. Like a baby that's 6 months,
Yeah.
pre-walking, I feel like you can get away with it.
Right.
Because they're a little more malleable. They'll
Okay.
just pass out.
Yeah.
Then you get to toddler age, forget about it.
Okay, so
Dangerous.
to bring that up, I mean, I was just, going hiking through Machu Picchu, and there was obviously families there, but there were like some families that brought like very young kids that were like crying, screaming, and that's when I'm like, it took us so long to get to this point. You had to take a plane, you had to take a train, a car, and a bus, and then like do hiking, and then it's like I feel like it might ruin the experience if you kind of have this little toddler that's just kind of being bratty and having a tantrum.
So I'll say my husband and I went for our 10-year wedding anniversary down to Jamaica this winter for, a couple days.
Yes.
The kids stayed with the grandparents.
Okay,
Great.
yes.
But we stayed at a kids-free zone because I was like, listen, if I'm escaping my own kids, I sure as hell don't need to be with somebody else's kids crying and and enjoying themselves. Because listen, who doesn't like Jamaica? My kids would have a blast. But it was our 10-year wedding anniversary. Let's have couple day break.
Yeah,
We'll do the family
exactly.
vacation other time.
Yeah, because when I was in Paris recently, I saw this couple again with like a small child, but one parent would take the child outside to like have it cry while the other parent was eating dinner by themselves, and then they would trade. And I was like, what's the point of going to Paris if you're kind of spending it apart?
It's interesting. I'll tell you this though. Apparently, the children in Europe are like much more civilized than American children.
Okay, gotcha.
That like they bring their kids, like I feel like it's like Sweden or it's something like that. Yeah. They will literally go out to dinner and leave their babies sleeping in the stroller outside the restaurant.
Oh my God, I have not
totally
seen that.
Normal thing.
Oh my God.
And they're fine. Like it's like a totally
right.
Literally, like one time my nanny took like 2 steps away from the stroller on the Upper West Side years ago, and the woman was like threatening to call the police and whatever. You go like, it's a whole different level. But the kids know how to sit. I don't know why our children are so terribly behaved.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, good.
So,
I'm glad to hear your opinion on that.
The entitlement's a little different, I feel like, in other cultures.
Yeah.
So it depends. It depends on your kid. If your kid's an
definitely.
asshole, don't take them international.
No, don't.
Yeah, that's a driving trip.
Yes, a driving.
You made that child, and now you've got to be stuck in a car with them for 8 hours.
Yes, I agree. Do you agree on this? There is nothing in the city worth waiting in line for more than 15 minutes. Is there anything in the city that you would wait in line for more than 15 minutes?
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No.
Not even like a subway or a bus or anything.
No, I mean, I really, if I really needed an ice cream cone,
Okay.
possible.
Yes.
But like a Van Leeuwen.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to like, and the gelato shops are really disappointing me these days.
Yes.
I just also want to put in a little dig.
Oh, okay. Gelato shop, step it up.
Yeah, get it together.
Yeah.
All right.
Because summer's right around the corner. You could change a few things.
Yeah. This at 28th Street, we got no great ice cream. Van Leeuwen, perfect spot. Okay. Broadway, 29th.
Yeah, got Madison
27th.
Square Park right there.
It's like we need a really great ice cream shop.
Okay, I like that.
But that's probably
That's it. Yeah.
I'm not waiting any
we have no
longer.
patience. That's New Yorkers.
A very emergency ice cream situation.
Got it.
That's
okay,
it.
great. What's the best way to get around the city, in your opinion?
Well, subway for sure.
Okay.
Or walk.
Yes.
I feel like if you can't walk there, or that's why I can never live on on the east side in these areas that don't have subways for like a mile.
Right.
It feels like
on East
I
End
might as well
Avenue
be
or
I
something.
might as well be in New Jersey.
Yeah, right.
Legitimately.
Yeah,
And
with a
there's
car.
wonderful neighborhoods.
Right.
But I couldn't live there where I would have to walk the same route every day to get to the subway.
Right.
25 minutes.
Yeah,
It feels
I agree.
outrageous.
It's crazy. I agree. Okay, last question or last hot take.
Yep.
New Yorkers aren't rude, the tourists are. True or false?
Wait. The New Yorkers aren't rude. The tourists are?
Yes.
No, so I wouldn't say the tourists are idiots.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if they're rude.
Yeah.
They don't have
Maybe a
proper.
little ignorant or something.
Sure. Yeah. The New Yorkers are busy.
We got places to be.
And if we see that you're having trouble, we're happy to help. But if you're just going to stop in the middle of the sidewalk
With a selfie stick.
or walk 4 people across,
That.
then we're going to get agitated.
Right.
Because we're busy and we need to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. And they don't know, to their own personal deficit, which is understandable, the proper way to walk around New York City.
Yes.
And that becomes agitating. It can come off as rude, but if you're just legitimately lost or need help or need directions,
Right.
New Yorkers are the nicest people in
Yeah,
the world. Well,
I agree.
I have walked people to like restaurants or this and that, just here, what? But you've got to get our attention first,
Right,
And that's sometimes
exactly.
hard to do
I
because
agree.
we're focused.
Yes, I agree.
And no New Yorker sitting around like, how are the tourists doing today? You know,
Exactly.
where it's so if we see you, we'll stop and help.
Yes.
I think we're very kind in
Yes.
that manner. But
I agree.
but if you're gonna be stopping in the middle of the street,
way.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a no.
It's gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those are my hot takes.
I love it.
Are we done with this arrangement?
We're
Is this
done.
it? The final product?
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh my gosh, so stunning. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Samantha, for talking with me today.
It's my pleasure.
Where can people find you?
www.theminirose.com or at Instagram at @theminirosco.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.